Since Sweden joined NATO, its borders have effectively become the alliance's borders. It's here in the skies over the Baltic Sea and on the approaches to Finland that the effectiveness of European defense is tested. Russian aircraft without transponders, unauthorized reconnaissance flights, and now drone attacks, all of this has become a reality faced by Swedish JAS-39 Gripen fighter jets. Once designed as a light and smart fighter, the Gripen finds itself at the center of a new front. However, will they be able to become not only effective interceptors, but also universal drone hunters? In the 1980s, it would have taken any of the approximately 4,300 combat aircraft of the former Warsaw Pact countries just 15 minutes to reach Swedish territory. These were subsonic and supersonic fighters, reconnaissance aircraft, and electronic warfare aircraft located at dozens of air bases from which they could attack this small country, nestled comfortably on the Scandinavian peninsula. In terms of numbers, the potential enemy strength exceeded the combined combat strength of the Swedish and Finnish air forces, as well as the NATO air component based in Denmark and Norway. To maintain its neutrality, adopted as a non-aligned policy back in 1814, and at the same time guarantee the sovereignty of its territory, Sweden has invested heavily in defense research, striving to remain at the forefront of technology and independent even from partner countries. The main driving force in this matter was the National Defense Corporation, Saab AB, which has created dozens of military and civilian aircraft, numerous missiles, ground-based radar systems, and even submarines. In a difficult moment, it was Saab AB that developed a fighter that met the command's requirements and in some ways greatly exceeded them. We are, of course, talking about the JAS-39 Gripen, a Swedish fourth-generation multi-role fighter that served Sweden faithfully since 1996. The maneuverable aerial platform with advanced adaptable avionics received a finned canard, which provided positive lift at all speeds, and due to the delta wing, Saab compensated for the negative lift of the rear stabilizer at high speeds and increased induced drag. The deliberate instability of the design and the use of fly-by-wire to maintain stability also managed to remove the lion's share of the Gripen's flight limitations, greatly improving its maneuverability and reducing drag. A particularly important requirement was the fighter's adaptability to short runways, the minimum length of which was approximately 1,970 feet and the width 52 feet. After all, Sweden had spent years developing the BAS-90 Rapid Access Airbase system, developed at the height of the Cold War, to make it virtually impossible to destroy the Swedish Air Force on the ground with nuclear weapons or enemy airstrikes. During the formation of the BAS-90, the Six-Day War occurred, during which the Israeli Air Force destroyed most of the Egyptian Air Force on the ground in the early stages of Operation Focus, which became further confirmation of the correctness of the Swedish dispersal concept and a reason for further development of the system. Improvements over its predecessor, the BAS-60, included the addition of backup runways in close proximity to the main airfield, even more mobile ground handling for aircraft, and improved communications technology. The JAS-39 was equipped with a retractable tricycle landing gear and a twin-wheeled nose gear with single main wheels, and a pair of air brakes were positioned on the sides of the rear fuselage, while the front wings were also angled to act as additional air brakes and reduce landing distance. Another fundamental component of the Gripen was its modularity and approach to upgrades. Already at the development stage, Saab sought to ensure the longest possible service life for its new fighter, setting a conditional figure of at least 50 years. To this end, the aircraft was designed with extremely low maintenance requirements, and its key systems, such as the Volvo RM12 engines and PS-05A radar, were modular, further reducing operating costs and increasing reliability. Not to mention, much like your smartphone, the JAS-39 can easily update its software, incorporating the latest sensors, computers, and weapons as they evolve. Moreover, all of the Gripen's avionics were fully integrated using 5 digital MIL STD 1553B data buses, which was described as sensor fusion. We will see something similar a little later in the F-35 Lightning II projects, and even in the American 6th-generation fighters of the Next Generation Air Dominance program. As it evolved, the JAS-39 underwent several modifications, including JAS-39B, a 2-seat training version where the creators were forced to sacrifice the internal gun and fuel tank to accommodate a second crew member and life support systems. JAS-39C, a single-seat NATO-compatible variant with expanded weapons capabilities, more advanced electronics, and in-flight refueling capability. JAS-39D, a two-seat version of the JAS-39C with the same changes as the JAS-39B for the second pilot. Gripen NG, a further development of the Gripen demo technology demonstrator featuring a more powerful engine, a new radar, a larger fuel tank, and an even more impressive payload with additional hardpoints. But the most interesting and advanced is rightfully considered the latest embodiment of Swedish engineering thought, JAS-39EF. Back in 2010, Sweden signed a contract with Saab to improve the Gripen's radar and other equipment, integrate the latest weapons, and reduce operating costs. Now, it might seem like nothing more could be needed, right? A fighter jet whose flight hour cost no more than $5,000 at the time? That same year, Saab announced Sweden's intention to purchase the Gripen NG, designated JAS-39EF, which was expected to enter service in 2017. However, the first 6 Gripen E aircraft were only ready for delivery to the Swedish and Brazilian Air Forces by 2021. The new E and F modifications feature a larger fuselage accommodating 30% more fuel and General Electric F414G engines capable of producing 20% more thrust than the Volvo RM12, allowing the Gripen to reach a new speed of Mach 1.1 with an air-to-air combat load. Interestingly enough, in 2010, Volvo Aero even announced its readiness to upgrade its RM12, claiming that the F414G would be a more expensive option, but the Swedish authorities apparently thought otherwise. The radar's also undergone some changes. Instead of the familiar Ericsson and GEC Marconi PS-05A multi-mode radar, the new version of the fighter features the Raven ES-05 ASA radar, based on the Vixen ASA radar family from Celix ES. It will enable scanning over a significantly expanded field of view and at an improved range, and will also integrate the Skyward G infrared search and track sensor, capable of passively detecting thermal emissions from air and ground targets. Moreover, according to its creators, the Gripen EF will be able to detect targets with a low effective dispersion cross-section beyond visual range, BVR. Target detection will be handled by the Best Sensor Dominate system, which will utilize onboard sensors or the Transmitter Auxiliary Unit, TAU, data transmission function. In terms of armament, the current EF versions will be equipped with up to 7 MBDA Meteor BVR air-to-air missiles, Iris-T short-range missiles, and GBU-49 laser-guided bombs. This is in addition to the previously available 14,330-pound arsenal of weapons, including the 27mm Mauser BK-27 cannon, air-to-air missiles such as the AIM-9 Sidewinder, and air-to-ground missiles AGM-65 Maverick, as well as RBS-15 anti-ship missiles. As additional equipment, the Gripen is also equipped with external sensor units for reconnaissance and target designation, such as the Lightning Targeting Pod from Israel's Rafael and Modular Reconnaissance Pod system from Saab itself, or the Digital Joint Reconnaissance Pod from France's Thales. Furthermore, in 2014, the Gripen tested the Enhanced Defensive Missile Defense Pod, the Survivability Technology Modular Self-Protection Pod. However, the final armament package depends directly on the buyer. After all, the Gripen is a reliably sold aircraft abroad, already operating in 5 countries and regularly receiving additional orders. Saab has always described its brainchild as a role-switching aircraft, claiming that this is literally at the push of a button. But hardly any of the military aviation heavyweights seriously expected that in 2025, the Gripen E would become the first fighter piloted by artificial intelligence. However, that's exactly what happened. Just this summer, Saab announced successful test flights of its Gripen E equipped with the Centaur artificial intelligence system from German company Helsing, capable of autonomous air combat. The flights were conducted under the auspices of Saab's larger Project Beyond project, which aims to develop AI capabilities in military aviation and is funded by the Defense Materiel Administration, FMV, Sweden's defense procurement organization, as part of its future fighter program. The first flight took place on May 28th, and by the time of the third flight on June 3rd, the Gripen E with the Centaur at the controls was fully prepared for BVR air combat with a human-piloted Gripen D. During a series of dynamic BVR scenarios, target data was fed from the Gripen E sensors, and the Centaur autonomously performed complex maneuvers as instructed by the test pilot. As a result, the AI agent issued firing signals to the pilot for simulated air-to-air weapons. Both fighters were supported by airborne early warning and control AEW and C systems, which provided additional target information. Centaur's performance was studied in various engagement scenarios at various distances from the target, speeds, and viewing angles. In some cases, the command center even disabled command and control data to assess the AI agent's reliability. Assessing the scale of the benefits that such an AI-integrated solution could provide, Helsing's Vice President of Artificial Intelligence, Antoine Bourdez, stated that during the third AI test flight, it flew for around 50 years of the equivalent pilot years, emphasizing that it took us only a few hours to do that. During the testing process, Centaur rapidly gained experience and decision-making skills for BVR combat in a combat arena described by Saab as playing chess in a supersonic with advanced missiles. Now, the Gripen's creators will have to conduct a series of flights by the end of 2025, which will include a battle between 2 Gripen aircraft with AI on board and 2 enemy-piloted aircraft. Saab also confirmed that the Centaur has the capability to expand air combat to within visual range, WVR. This is a top priority for the team as WVR remains the most critical aspect of air combat today and is of particular importance to the Swedish Air Force, which has long sought to develop innovative technologies and tactics to counter a potential large-scale Russian air attack, protecting not only itself, but also its NATO neighbors. Given the latest news and repeated provocations by Russian drones crossing Sweden's borders, it's worth repeating once again that the Swedes have once again anticipated many of their European allies in this matter. And even if the Centaur ultimately doesn't receive funding for installation in the entire Gripen fleet, the experience gained by Saab and Helsing will likely find its way into the future Swedish fighter development program, which aims to introduce the next-generation air combat platform, or platforms, by 2031. You think the Swedish Gripen can compete with the American NGAD fighters thanks to its modularity? Or will it need more than just AI on board to do so? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for more content like today's. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.